Hello, 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 hello. We're live. It's Nicola here from Conscious Crypto Traders, and we're going to start top of the hour, bang on the hour. I just thought I would come on a little bit earlier just to make sure that everybody is gathering on time. I have an awesome live stream here for you today doing Bitcoin analysis. We're going to start with Bitcoin. We'll go to Ethereum, XRP, ADA. I'm going to do some EOS. I talk a little bit more about this fractal that's repeating from 2020, which can give us a really cool idea of where we're headed, as well as I'm going to talk about Songbird a little bit, which is the Flare Network's announcement of the name of their DeFi token that all of the XRP holders from December 12 who participated in the airdrop are going to be getting, and it's really exciting. We haven't seen much movement in the XRP price, I don't think, there as a result of that, but maybe there's a bit of a delay there. So let's get underway. Great. Hi, guys. We are going to be doing technical analysis today and every day for the next few weeks, maybe a little bit more, while we're in this long consolidating pattern, getting ready to make a really big breakout. It's getting a little bit more volatile as we start coming towards the end of our peak here. And I'm getting comments from people who've lost a lot of money while they've been trading inside a pattern. Normally, you wouldn't trade inside a pattern unless it's a wedge with, with big spaces to go to the bottom, to the top. In this case, we've had that, but it's sandwiching. So it's getting more and more volatile. And I don't want people to be losing money because they don't know what they're doing or they're misreading the market. So we'd love for you to like this video. We put a lot of research into our live streams and our videos. We're uploading videos twice a day now, one with the live stream, one with a tutorial. And our channel is all about teaching technical analysis for the cryptocurrency market. My background actually started in the stock market. I used to work for a merchant bank in the institution department, taking institutional money and letting our clients know where they should be investing. So that's where I started learning technical analysis, and then switched over to the crypto market pretty recently, about a couple of years ago. So that is that. And I think we'll just get going. Would love for you to subscribe if you're new to our channel. As I said, we teach technical analysis, but we're also looking at what scenarios affect the action of the price or price action in cryptos that we need to be aware of, because that can give us an idea of where we're going. And especially at the moment when things are volatile and patterns are being broken, they're not being fulfilled, or they're being over fulfilled, or there's U-turns that are happening when you think the market's going one way, the scenarios that can impact price action become more important. And I'm going to be talking about one of those scenarios today, as I've been talking about this scenario since it actually started in March. I think it was the 15th of May, 15th of May that scenario started, and it's playing out as a pattern that we could just be aware of. So I'd love for you to post a comment where you're from. Always want to hear from you, and then let's get going. So I am on the 4 hourly for Bitcoin on Bitstamp. Obviously, it doesn't matter. Sometimes if you use a different exchange, there's slightly different patterns, which is part of the reason why I like to do several lines. And let's look at Bitcoin in this instance, because I am seeing potentially two different types of patterns depending on how you look at it. So first of all, see this yellow straight line here. We have had some support, finding support here quite a few times, and obviously we've just broken below it. And then we've had this very nice descending line here, which we have not gone above the whole time we've been trading in this pattern. So that's a descending triangle, which breaks to the downside more often than it, like 80% of the time, I think it is more than it does to the upside. And right now we have just broken down, and there's going to be a bit of a debate as to whether or not we've broken out, come back, retested the support line as resistance, and now we've come down. And are we going to continue down or not? I will look at that once we get into the hour, because we've got this bear flag forming, which suggests we are going down. Now, the other pattern that we could be in is a longer standing descending triangle that basically not descending triangle, excuse me, a descending wedge, which started in the dump as we started coming into the dump. And then that means that this line here, if we go like that, to touch as many, we want as many candles touching this line as possible to make it valid. Otherwise, it's just hanging around in the air. So let's do it like that. Had a fake out here, touched it there. So now we've got this descending line rather than this straight wedge here, which is interesting because this pattern breaks to the upside more often than it breaks to the downside. So once again, we have this contradiction, or two seemingly contradicting patterns telling us we're going one way or the other way, and which way is it going to be, right? So that's where we're at. If we break down to the bearish scenario, we are heading down towards, I would say, we're not going to go much lower than 19,750. As you know, I'm very clear that the patterns of the previous cycles, once we get past the halving, we don't go back under the previous bull market's top, in which case was around 19,750, or let's call it 20,000, right? So I don't think we're going to get lower than that if we go low. Could be wrong, and I'm happy to be wrong. I don't need to be right here, but there's no need to panic. I think one of the most important things that's happening in the market at the moment is people are panic selling and then losing because they bought high and losing. So the title on the thumbnail was, are you going to lose your cryptos? And I want to talk about that today as well. But let's have a look at Bitcoin. So that's the 4 hourly, right, with those contradicting patterns. See this pink line here? That's the support line for where we have dipped at the lowest point during this dump that we've had and consolidation period. So for me, that's a D-Day, right? 28,470, somewhere around there. No, 27, I think it's 28,500. Let's call it 28,500. If we dip below that and we start trading below that for a few hours, I think that that is a pretty clear indication that we're probably going to go down, close the CME gap between 26,000 and 24,000, maybe go down to 22,000, maybe even go to 20,000. So that is what we're waiting on, and we're not there right now. We've just bounced off of this line here. So let's dig down into the 1 hour and get a better look at what's happened here. So remember I said this is debatable as to whether this is a break to the downside coming up and confirming that we are now touching the support line as resistance. And I say that because this candle went over the line rather than creating a clear break. So to me, this would probably be the candle that is the clear break. And then we've come up here, retested it. So traditionally, this would be a retest and a rejection of the previous support line. It is now confirmed as resistance. So we've dropped down, and now we're in what could be called a bear flag. Right? And the pole is here. We take it up to the top of the flag, depending on where it breaks out, because it's in an angle. This is going to take us down to that pink line. Maybe we could fall short of the pink line, and maybe we could go under the pink line, keep going down. We'll have to wait and see. However, for me, this setup is like, I'm not convinced we're going to go down to the lower price points, and I'm going to tell you why in just a minute. So if we come, here we go here. If we come down and just touch this pink line and then bounce off and then start going back up again, we could call that a double bottom. And now we've got that confirmation of a trend reversal. So that's what I'm going to be watching for. If you're looking at putting in a trade, you are going to want to wait a little bit because we've got all sorts of support lines and all sorts of resistance lines. So traditionally with technical analysis, you're going to want to see a confirmed breakout. Now we've got a confirmed breakout of this pattern, but now we're in a bear flag and it's on an angle going up, which means we could see upward price action a little bit further before we're going to come back down. So you're going to want to look at maybe looking longing once we get up to the top of this line and then ride it down if we've got an Ichimoku that is looking bearish. Now let me bring in the Ichimoku cloud, which is a combination of many factors, moving averages, and makes the charts look a little dirty. And you will see that we've got the conversion line is under the line here, the red line here, which is the baseline. That's bearish. We've also got the cloud showing a descent from here. So we might start seeing a little bit of sideways action, and then we could see a potential drop here. So we are in territory that is el dangerous. Now, for those of you who have bought Bitcoin at high prices and are saying, in my hodl position, should I sell it at a loss and come back in when it's low? And this is going to be personal preference. I'm not a financial advisor, so I can't give you advice here. But for me personally, I'm not ever selling any Bitcoin. Like, right, I'm in for the long haul. In 4 years' time, like if we're looking at $500,000 to $1 million for a Bitcoin, why would I sell it? And certainly, why would I sell it and lose when I can just wait 5 months, 6 months, and then the price is back up to where I purchased it at, or 4 years, in which case I'm making, like astronomical profits. I personally just wouldn't do that. What I would do is dollar cost average, which means as the price goes down to those lower prices, I would just buy a little bit more into it. So therefore I'm bringing the average cost of my entry down each time that it dips. That's my personal preference because I don't like losing. And I don't see why you have to lose when just for the sake of waiting a little longer, then, you've got all of your value back. In the crypto market, that does not make sense. It's a bit different in the stock market, but in the crypto market, it just, when we know, especially Bitcoin, we've got 4-year cycles where we have, approximately 18 months to 2 years of going up in price, approximately another 2 years of going down in price. You can just wait another cycle and then it can just end up being a long-term savings. So as far as the mindset of this market right now is really calling on us to be patient and look for double confirmation so that we're not getting U-turns, right? Because everybody who shorted this here and we like maybe came in here are now going, oh my goodness, are we going to come all the way back up to this line and retest it again? Because that has happened in this market, and therefore you end up being in the red. So this is what we need to weigh up. So what I'm looking at here, I got out of my short when it touched this line here. Right, I got out because I thought, well, if it's going to come up, then and it's going to come all the way up, then I can get a better position. And if it doesn't, I'm okay with that. That it's absolutely fine. But because we've been U-turning a lot, I'm wanting to lock in my profits. But we're looking on the 1 hour. If you have a look, we are looking 2 red candles heading back down to here. We're in the middle of a pattern. In the middle of the pattern, you don't want to put in a trade, either a short or a long, because you are looking at potential U-turn and then sitting in the loss of that trade until it turns around. So with this bear flag, basically what you're wanting to do is watch a breakout to the downside, and the breakout's probably going to be right on the support line. So at this stage, I would be waiting to see this line here around 29,233, a break to the downside, a retest of that line, because remember, this is the bottom of the descending wedge, and then see if it comes back up to test it as resistance and then comes back down. And maybe the next stop is, 28,800, which is a support line, or coming down to 28,500, 540 to test this to see if we're going to go lower, or whether we're going to bounce back up, create a double bottom and head on up. Because we are in a descending wedge potentially, then, and so let's look at it like that. So if we look at it as a descending wedge rather than this was a descending triangle, which we've broken down from, now we're going up, we're creating higher lows. We could keep going up for several hours to about 2 o'clock US Mountain Time, and then come down and retest this line here. So watch out for that. And at that stage, if the Ichimoku cloud is still showing a decline here, that around about 30,050 or what have you, or 31,000, which is a resistance area, that could be time to short it if it's still looking valid as a short. As a long, I would not long under an Ichimoku cloud that is heading down. that would be very stressful for me. I would want to see a confirmed bullish momentum with the green cloud starting to show on the 1 hour for Bitcoin. So that is Bitcoin. Thanks, guys, for all the likes. That's awesome. But you're a bit shy on posting comments. We're a new channel, so we really do appreciate you posting comments, liking, and subscribing, so that that we can build our conscious crypto traders community and help you out with this bull market here. So Ethereum, let's have a look at Ethereum. Ethereum's really interesting because I think it's trading within clearer patterns than Bitcoin. On this channel, we've often talked about Ethereum may end up leading the pack because often it will start going in the opposite direction from Bitcoin, and then Bitcoin follows later, whereas mostly it's been the other way around. And we are in a very clear descending triangle, and we're very clearly at the bottom of support. We've come down this wedge here. So now we're looking, this is on the daily, by the way. Now we're looking at whether or not we're going to come back up and touch this top resistance line of this wedge, or fulfill this pattern, break out of it, because descending wedges usually break to the upside and go back to where it started, which is around 2,400. I spoke about this yesterday. If we break to the downside, we've got 460, right, 550 to 460 as the target, which is highly unlikely, but it is possible when there's price manipulation that we could wick down there. So I got a cheeky buy order in down at 460, just in case you catch that wick. But at the moment, again, we've got this bullish pattern inside a bearish pattern. We are looking at whether we're going to turn around. So let's have a look on the 4 hour. Are we turning around? Are we heading back up? And it looks like we did get rejected off of the support line of 1717 approximately. And we're bouncing back up and we're coming back up. Now, here's the caution of putting in a trade. We're in the middle of a channel. So we need to wait till we see, are we going to get rejected at the support line at 1849, or are we going to go back up to the top and create a lower high? Or are we now establishing support, and so therefore we're going to get to the top, but we're going to break out and fulfill this top here and go all the way back up to 24? Well, we don't know right now. We can have a little bit of a look at what Ichimoku is saying. And again, the Ichimoku is still looking really bearish. We've got the same scenario happening here. So we could see some sideways action, maybe keep going sideways till we actually touch this resistance line, and then that would be the D-Day. So that's going to happen in the next couple of days. So either way, we're still waiting for the big break. Like, it could be another week before we get a big break to the downside or a big break to the upside on these big patterns. So the pinnacle of this triangle isn't until the 2nd of September, but normally it starts to break somewhere around here, 21st of August through here. So I would just be being patient because everybody's talking about, the big break's imminent, the big break's imminent. And what's been happening is that we get more price action, and so we've got to adjust our trend lines, and we see that a bigger pattern is forming, and we're still waiting for that big breakout. So just be very aware of that, be very cautious of that. So as far as putting a trade in, I mean, the time to have put a long in would have been when we bounced off of this here. As I said, we're in the middle of a pattern, so we want to wait till we get to here to see, are we going to break to the upside, in which case you would long. If we've got all the signs looking good, we've got the volume, we've got the RSI's got room to move to the upside. If it looks like it's going to go red, turn around and come back down to retest the support line, then obviously we would put in a short. But because we are doing market analysis every day, we're monitoring the price action as it's unraveling and as it's revealing itself to us. So we can be watching that and helping you with that throughout the day, throughout the week rather, on a daily basis. So that is Ethereum, still just waiting to get to one side of the pattern or not in order to place a trade. But here's the thing with Ethereum that you want to have a look at. If we continue to go to the upside, we will have created a W, which is a trend reversal. So that's what we want to watch for, okay? We're looking now, are we going to break down or are we going to break up? And I think it's probably going to be another day or two before we will know, unless we get some volume coming in that's quite decisive one way or the other. With XRP, this is the weekly on XRP, and this is a really gorgeous cup and handles. And it just kind of depends on where you're going to draw the neckline, right? Either way, it's on a trajectory, like whether I draw the neckline there, whether I draw it there, what have you. This is let's just say it's here, right? That's the candle, and that's going to take us up to pretty much the all-time high, not quite, just fall short of the all-time high of the last bull cycle, up at around $3.33. We've got the golden ratio before that, so we could hit that, turn around and come back down. We've got a long ways to go to get up, right? We've got the cup, we've got the handle. Now we've got a long ways to go to get up to the neckline of this cup and handle to see if this would be valid. And this is going to take a while because this is on the weekly. But here's the deal with patterns on, bigger time frames, they tend to be more reliable and they tend to be really big moves. So we're watching this. Now, if we want to come down on the daily and go, what is going on here? Similar, showing further downward action. And I think we've got this downward channel, which XRP really loves to trade in channels, but it's been going up and down almost to here, and then we fell short, then we came down. But now we seem to be finding tremendous support here around 57 cents. And of course, we're now under that support. We've got this symmetrical triangle, so we are looking at breaking down from this. So let's zoom in on the 4 hour to see if we can see what we're doing here. And we have a bear flag forming. This is the symmetrical triangle which we've got there. That's the measurement there in terms of where we're going to end up breaking down to. So we could say we have broken out of that pattern. We're coming back up, forming a bear flag. We could come all the way back up here to retest this line of support and then turn back down and come down to pretty much almost the bottom of this wedge. And we're looking at a price of 37 cents, which is kind of like gasp, because XRP is had a bit of a tough time lately with with all the price manipulation, the SEC lawsuit. So let's now look at the first target that we would be looking at with this bear flag. Depending on where this breaks to the downside, but you're looking at the first target at being 49 cents, right? And we have however, this is something to note, we have created a double bottom here. If you see this wick, let me just go here. This wick here has pretty much touched here to create a double bottom. So we might not see that. I mean, I think it's that one there, right? Not quite. No, not quite. It looked it when you were zooming out. But this is a higher low, right? And we're on a trajectory. So this bear flag might not actually play out. It might get invalidated. So what we want to watch if we're wanting to place a trade for XRP is we want to see, are you going to come back up here to this descending wedge, which breaks to the upside and break up similar to XRP, to Ethereum, or are you going to reverse and are you going to come back down and come to this first target of 49 cents and then go to 37 cents. So we need a few more candles to see, and we need the breakout of this potential bear flag to know where we're going to be. But at the moment, this is looking bearish. It's looking like it is going to continue to break down. So remember, when we've broken out of a big pattern, we normally come back up to retest the previous support line as resistance. So in theory, we could keep trading inside of this rising wedge until we get to this resistance line and turn around and come back. Right, in which case that pretty much invalidates this as a bear flag and just creates a rising channel which breaks to the downside. But as I said, we are in a descending channel which breaks to the upside. So once we get up around here, we're going to need to watch to see if we're going to break through, come back into the pattern temporarily, and then break to the upside. And at the moment, Ichimoku is looking bearish. So that is the most likeliest scenario. But in this market, we have seen U-turns. We've seen people shorting, getting liquidated out of their shorts as we've gone up. So just be very, very, very careful and very aware of it. And one of the reasons why, like I'm pulling back and being a bit more conservative is that we do have a big move coming. Like the big move is coming. And if you lose all of your capital or a good portion of it, trading all of these smaller patterns that are pretty volatile, then you're going to lose the capital for the bigger moves. So I would look at that. Now, one of the biggest things that XRP has got going for it are the fundamentals of what's happening in that SEC lawsuit. I don't know if you're following that, but Hinman has been agreed to depose, who might have some very incriminating information about the SEC, and that could bolster confidence in XRP. It could see a settlement happen before he even gets deposed, and therefore we can start seeing some proper action, and the price squeeze that's been happening for XRP could get lifted. Also, with the announcement from Flare Networks, for those of you who are hodlers of XRP and participated in the airdrop last December, we're getting Flare tokens. And then if you hold on to those Flare tokens for a month, you're then going to get what they're calling Songbird. So that means you're getting 2 DeFi tokens in fact, actually, I think you're getting 1.5 Flare tokens, right, for every XRP that you've got. And Songbird, you're going to get more Songbird than the XRP that you're holding, which is just really quadrupling and maybe even 10xing your profits from those XRP tokens. And once this news filters, we might actually see a bit of flurry of confidence in XRP again. So this is over at the flare.xyz blog. You can learn all about it. It was just recently posted. So we will watch that for XRP, but we are in a bit of a danger territory for XRP going to lower prices right now, because we have broken out of this pattern and we've broken out of that support that was there. And now we're going to probably come down and retest this support. If we break this here, if we break 51 cents, a good time to short it all the way back down to, to where, at least to 37 cents or 37.7 to where this triangle here target is. And then we might get a bounce to come back up again, but we're still creating lower lows. So bearish sentiment for XRP still, unfortunately. ADA on the weekly has just broken to the downside out of what you could arguably call bull flag, right? But we have had, consecutive red candles on the weekly, one green one. So this is still, heading down in price action. So let's go down to the tradable hours, like 4 hour, and see what's going on here with ADA. See, they've all got bear flags at the moment. So you can see we had a symmetrical triangle, came into it to the downside, which means it was going to break down. It didn't even come back to confirm this line as resistance. Still could, but hasn't yet met the mark, met the target, and has now formed a, probably, this could be a bear pennant, because we've got a little bit of an incline there. Let's see. We'll just have to wait for a few more candles to get confirmation on whether that's a flag or a pennant, because that changes where we're going to put the line and where we could go to. And it looks like there's confluence here at the support line on the Fibonacci, which is Fibonacci drawn from the swing high of the total market to the very beginning of the bull run. And if we break out here, we're just going to fall short of it. We might touch it at 95 cents. 96 cents is a really good support line, and that's what we're going to be looking for. Otherwise, if we keep going up and break to the upside, then the next resistance to look at, let's have a look, where are we? We'd be back in the $1.15, this resistance line here. Ichimoku is on a decline. There's no green cloud here showing bullish momentum is starting to come in. So what we would be looking at here is a bearish scenario, breaking to the downside, entering a short and shorting it all the way down to 95 cents. So we don't know where it's going to break out. It could, the higher it breaks out, obviously, the more profitable that trade's going to be. For those of you who are new, in technical analysis, like traditional, you want to confirm breakout. So you get a breakout candle to the downside if it's going to be a potential short. You come back up to retest the support line, going, this is now a resistance. It gets rejected. It comes back down. And then it just goes below where the first breakout was. That is the time to enter a short. So depending on where that is going to break out to, that would be the time to enter the short, and then short it down to, to the support line or to the conclusion of the target for that particular pattern. Then you want volume. If you don't have volume when you enter the trade and it's really slow and sluggish, you run the risk of the trade U-turning on you and then you losing money. So in this market, we are wanting to make sure we either get confirmed breakouts with the volume. You see the volume come in, then you can know that this is a good, good chance it's going to go to reach the target and not do a U-turn. And right now we've got downward momentum. So everything in the market is kind of pointing towards lower prices, but we've got those bottom support lines in, which means we could still be creating double bottoms, bounce off of that and head to the upside. So I don't think it's guaranteed that we're going to go to those lower prices. I think with Bitcoin, we need to look for, breaking to the downside of 28,800 is the first target, first support line, and then the other one will be 28,560. With Ethereum, we are right on the support line, right? So we break down there. Again, Ethereum might end up leading the pack in that regard because we're right on the support. We come back under that and retest that support line as resistance, then we could see lower prices for Ethereum. With XRP, we're on a support line at the moment, a very significant support line, because if we look at the price action, let me turn off the Ichimoku so it's a bit clearer. There's quite a lot of support coming in on this Fibonacci line at 58.76. We're trading under that right now. So we're in the danger territory of gravity just pulling us down. And then with ADA, we've got a ways to go to get to the support line. But the bottom line is, what I'm trying to say is, we could still see a bounce to the upside. So don't bank on going down to those lower prices. wait for the confirmation that that is going to happen at those support and resistance lines. Now, we talk about scenarios a lot here. One of the scenarios that has been affecting the price of Bitcoin specifically has been Saturn retrograde, which started 10th of May last year and it started 15th of May this year. And if you have a look at the price action on the daily, it pretty much dropped, came up a little bit, dropped again, and then traded sideways. And the further we went in time, the tighter the trades. We weren't going so low, we weren't going so high, and it got tighter and tighter and tighter on a trajectory slightly to the downside, and then it just took off to the upside. Now, the date for that for us would be the 2nd of August, to watch the 2nd of August. Is 2021 going to repeat the pattern of 2020 and see a spike to the upside? We never saw a really big drop during this period to the downside. That doesn't mean to say that we can't, because we were being supported here by this 100-day moving average, which we are under for Bitcoin right now. However, we have been following the tighter and tighter and tighter range. If we come back to Bitcoin on the daily, and we just come back down to scale, we turn off Ichimoku so it's easier to see. We turn off the support lines. Oops. And, oh no, actually, I think I've got this already here. Here it is here. This is the D-Day that we could, if we're going to follow that same pattern as 2020, this is the 2nd of August, around about before or after that is when we could finally break out of this pattern here. The ascending wedge here. Descending wedge. Well, it depends. It's a descending triangle, or could even be a symmetrical triangle. I mean, there's so many different ways that you could look at it. So I think we need to look at all of it and consider all of it being a possibility because of the volatility. So that's what we're looking at. We're following a very, very similar fractal. You can see here, as we've been going up and down, we had quite big moves within price action, and then it started getting tighter, weren't going so high, weren't going so low, weren't going so high, weren't going so low, and now we're getting tighter and tighter. So that's an indication that a really big move is coming. So we will watch for that. So one of the things that we've been talking about on this channel is the potential for a super cycle, right? So if we go to Bitcoin and we have a look at Bitcoin on the monthly, even if we go down to, here we are right here. Even if we go down, that was the cycle top of the last bull market at 1970, I think it was 19,750, something like that. If we go down just above that, we could still bounce off and bounce right back into 30,000 very, very quickly, and then have a second top bull cycle, right? So I don't think that going low to 20,000 is necessarily going to mean we're now in that 2-year bull cycle, bear cycle, that where we're not going to see those higher prices again. I'm looking more towards what Willy Woo's talks about, having a double top bull market as well as a super cycle. And that super cycle could start in October, maybe November, December, somewhere around there. And because of that, we are going to be doing a conscious crypto event for 3 days, which you're welcome to come to. And early bird tickets are available now, so you get $400 off for the whole 3 days. And let me show you the amazing speakers we've got. The link for this, by the way, is below in the description. MM Crypto, Da Vinci J, Nomad Capitalist is not coming. We've got Offshore Capitalist, Offshore Citizen is coming now. Crypto Wendy, we're waiting for a couple of speakers to confirm with their affiliate, their assistants. We've got the Blockchain Today, Jeroen von Langer, Digital Asset News, Marzel Money, myself, Teresa, a couple of other guests that we're just still waiting on confirmation. And the whole format is to get you ready for the super cycle, to make sure that you're maximizing your profits and you're minimizing your taxes. So we are going to be going over different trading scenarios to make the most of this super cycle. We're going to be talking about tax minimization. We're going to be talking about psychology, mastering your psychology, and also managing your emotions so that you don't get caught up in the euphoria and end up losing money because you're holding on and you're not selling at the right time. We're going to have technical analysis workshops where you'll learn advanced skills as well as get an opportunity to show your trades or show your portfolio to get one-on-one guidance for those of you who are choosing VIP tickets. Then we're going to have all these panels of experts where you're going to get to interact and talk with them personally. For those of you with VIP tickets, certainly you'll be able to ask questions in the chat. We're leading this on Zoom. We're going to be talking about indicators, predictions, and strategies for the end of the bull run, how to make profits in the bear cycle that's going to follow, structures, how to structure everything for your taxes to maximize your wealth, minimize your tax burden. We're going to talk a lot about mindset and managing your mind during the dips as well as that euphoria, as I mentioned before. What are you going to do with all of that Bitcoin? Because it matters what you do with it with all of these new regulations that are coming down. So we're going to go over that and balancing your portfolio out with altcoins, DeFi, and NFTs. So it's going to be action-packed. It's 3 days of amazeballs. You're going to want to be there. The early bird tickets are on sale now, and that ends at the end of July, which is in a week and a half's time. We also have limited tickets because we are on Zoom, so we only have a certain number of seats for you. So if you want to get your ticket now, you need to get it now if you want to make sure that you're in. Please look at the link below. You can go over to the website, see what's going on, and lock in your early bird ticket price as soon as possible so you don't miss out. And that is it from me for today. I'm going to see you tomorrow. We may have Teresa with us tomorrow for our usual live stream that we do every Wednesdays. And until then, everybody trade consciously. Be very, very conscious of the fact that we could get some sudden U-turns here. And don't take it for granted. Really look for that volume, look for that confirmation, and trade consciously. Bye-bye.